Hi, welcome. This is the last one in this particular series of cartoons. I hope you've enjoyed these. They've been a lot of fun to make. Real quickly, we're going to talk about some adding color to cartoons. Now, up till now, we've talked mostly about black and white cartoons. Um, Obviously, you can do them on computer. A lot of people can do that nowadays. Colored pencils work really, really well. Markers are great. There's a couple of things that we need to know about them. And there's one more thing that's really cool is watercolors. Watercolors work really nicely too. I'm not going to demonstrate the watercolors today. You'll have to experiment with that on your own. But for today, let's talk about adding some color. And we'll do this kind of, like a lot of my videos. We don't want to get into a ton of detail because a lot of this you need to experiment on your own to really get a feel for. But again, we'll do some quick characters here, and then we'll add some color to them and see what happens. Now, first we're going to do the markers. And I'm using a Sharpie. Again, as you've seen in my past videos, I would usually sketch this out in pencil probably first and decide how to put this stuff in, where to plan my cartoon. But for the sake of this, I want to do it fairly quickly. So let's take a look at this. Now, one thing about the markers, especially on this type of paper, this is a rather thin paper. It's almost like a bond paper, almost like a printer paper. It bleeds a lot. Make sure that you don't have something on the back side that's good, because this is what's going to happen. It bleeds right through, and the colors are going to go through even worse. But because it bleeds, we have to be careful of something. Look at this. So let's take a look at, let's just do a face here for quick. And let's say that I've got a color that I'm going to do. If I go right to the lines and I'm bearing down hard, let's see what happens here. There's a tendency of this. It's not too bad, but depending on the marker that you use, it'll bleed right over that line. I like to leave some space. This one's making a liar out of me because it seems to be working pretty good. Now there's two ways to put your color in. And one way would be to kind of do this overlapping thing, and you can see that it leaves lines where you can see where it's overlapped. If I were doing, let's do his shirt in a lighter color here so we can see what's going on. One way that I do it is I kind of follow along. I was just checking to make sure you can see this. Follow along with the lines, and then I just kind of keep a consistent straight up and down thing going on. So that's one way that I do it. It kind of gives a nice, neat look. All right. Now, if you go, use a different color here. If you go like this, depending on the color you're using, it may or may not show that it looks a little messy. These are bleeding together rather nicely on this paper, actually. And it comes out. Notice the color of the cap. Of course, we get different colors on computers, but notice the color of the cap and the color of his shorts. A lot darker than the cap. Keep that in mind. All right. Here's the thing. Kids always ask me this, skin tone. Well, nobody's skin is the same, you know what I mean? There's all variations. I got a pretty limited palette with my markers here. What am I going to do? So I don't have a brown, I don't have a pink, I don't have either one of those things. I'm going to do a little bit of this. And this kind of gives the impression that he's been out in the sun, but you can kind of give a little bit of a hint like that. Now, so that's some of the stuff that you can do with markers. Um, and look at how nicely these have evened out. I like the way his shorts came out better. I kind of scumbled them in there, kind of went crazy with them. And these are with Sharpie. So kind of came out nice. Now the different markers will react differently. Let's do something a little different. Let's do colored pencils. Now you can do a lot more variation with the colored pencils, and it's like using regular pencil to draw with too. I mean, I can only do so much with the Sharpie as I'm doing this. I can't get nice subtle shading. I can't, there's a lot of things I can't do, but I like the overall look. So I'm going to go ahead and see what happens here. We'll get a couple colors out, and I don't want to go crazy with this because there's a lot. I got 48 colors in here. I go really nuts. You don't need all this color. That's crazy. You can mix and match and stuff like that. But let's do this. So let's take, they're not marked on the hair even what color they are. Let's try this for this guy's skin color. I like this. This is nice. This is a little bit of a, got a little bit of a brown shade going on here. Again, I don't color in every single thing. I like to leave some of the white, but I'm going to show you something really cool here. So here I've started. This gives you a little idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to do this kind of lightly. Again, I'm leaving some white because I like to, it leaves like highlights and stuff like that. So there's a particular tone. Now, I'm going to say that the light is coming from this direction. So that means that with the colored pencil, I can get some really nice 3D look going on. Let's put a mouth on this guy. Let's have him smile on his face. And darken it underneath here. I'm darkening that. Now, a little bit here, the ear. Got these crazy ears on. Same thing on his arms. Watch this. This is really cool. Right here, I've shaded where his shirt would cause a little bit of shadow. And it really gives it a nice 3D look. Again, the light is coming from this side, so it's going to be darker on the other side. Darken that up. Light tone on the other side. Darken the side. Light tone on the other side. Okay. We'll do the same thing with his legs. Again, I've drawn these in really, really quickly. You could do certainly have more detail than this, but you really want to get the idea of the color. How to use the color. I love colored pencils. You can really get a great, great look. Look at the cool shading. Let's do something with the shirt. So, I don't know, we'll do a blue shirt on this guy. And actually, let's go with this for his shorts. And color, I got to tell you something. Color, there's a whole science to color. I do color pretty random. I got to tell you. I grab what I like. So it's up to you. If you really want to get into the science of color, there is a lot of really cool stuff to learn about how primary colors react when they're put next to each other. You know, that's a whole other thing. It's very cool. But for the sake of this, I want to get how we're adding the lights and the darks. Again, here, his shirt would cause a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to go dark underneath that. Really, really gives it that little bit of a look. Oops, I went over. That's okay. Outside the lines. And oh brother, what a nut. There. Okay, now let's do something with his shirt. Let's use a red. Okay, and the primary colors today. All right, so again, on that side, dark, lighter. Be dark underneath the arm right there, dark here. And if you wanted to add some wrinkles to the shirt to really liven it up, really make it look realistic, put those in, and then, and now with the colored pencils, this blended in nicely with the markers. Not so with the colored pencils as far as how you color. If I just went really random, could look kind of messy. I'm doing really light. These colored pencils, these are not expensive. They're pretty nice. They work really well. Crayola colored pencils are fabulous. You get great color with them. And a little bit here, a little darker there. And I'm going to do a little darker right there. Now, add some of his. This is where the shirt doesn't cover. So we'll do that. There we go. All right. So we got a little bit of that going on, okay? Now the other thing you can do, I do this with pencil a lot. You can blend it in a little bit like that. I wouldn't go crazy with it because it just kind of makes it messy. I love the way that it looks kind of by itself. Now this paper has a little bit of a texture to it, what they call tooth. It's got a little bit of a tooth to it. And it works pretty well. And again, these are not, this is not super expensive paper. I get these at Job Lot. Great place to get your sketch pads. So let's try some more color here. All right, so here's another kid. Do it quickly here. There. Nope, let's put a face on. He's like, huh? What the heck is going on here? I should have left this here so that we could do a blonde hair. We could do that with just like this. All right. So then there's two ways to do this. If you want that lighter skin tone, I have what they call olive skin myself. And I've been out in the sun a little bit, so I could do a little bit of a tan, but because I have such a selection here, I could choose something from here, but I'm going to use the red and show you something. I can do really light, just give a hint. It's kind of what I tried to do over here, but with the markers, you can only do so much. With this, I can get more of a hint of this more pale skin tone here. And we can just do like that. And that kind of works. Let's do a little bit of green, because we used a green shirt here. Let's see what it looks like with this. Again, we want to make sure that we do the dark, where I'm going to use the same light source. It's up to you where the light is coming from. It's up to you and your cartoon. Where is the light coming from? Again, I'm checking to make sure I can see this in the screen. So I color this in. kind of neat about it. And I've got just that kind of light color in there. Then we're going to add the shading. I'll tell you, I love this look. And because cartoons can be either or, you know what I mean? You can get a flat look is fine for that. And when I do them on the computer, which I don't do that often, but you can get that nice flat kind of look. But I love this 3D thing that we've got going on here. We'll do his shorts blue as well. Nice and light first, and then add shading. And I could do that with this as well. So by using the red here and letting a lot of the paper show through, you kind of get that kind of pinkish look. He would be very light-skinned. And then, of course, put some freckles in. Then we got this kind of thing. So have fun with color, experiment, and enjoy. Just have a lot of fun with it. I love colored pencils. Again, with the if you work with watercolors, that's a whole other thing. But have fun with them and experiment with just kind of doing these light washes and stuff like that. Maybe I'll do a video about that too. All right, we'll talk to you later. Have fun.